ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Sunday Night Football Overtime. Jets, Steelers. This one was very interesting. One of those ebbs and flows games that there were like 2 or 3 different games inside the game. Steelers kind of came out early, established themselves. Then the Jets kind of took over. Breece Hall had his moments. Jets had what felt like, because of the struggles of the Steelers offensively, Russell Wilson wasn't playing very well, and the run game was non-existent. And it just felt like another one of those Steelers sluggish offensive performances. It felt like this was heading in that direction where we were going to be talking about the Steelers offense again. And it was 15-6. And I really thought this game turned on one play. Jets are up 15-6. They feel like they're in total control of this game. Aaron Rodgers tries to squeeze one up the seam. And Beanie Bishop makes an incredible play. The rookie nickel corner, who every time I watch the Steelers, he's giving me those vibes that I used to get when another former Steeler nickel was playing, who is in Cincinnati right now. And I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. It's almost Mike Hilton. And I remember always watching Steelers games and going, damn, this Mike Hilton dude, man. Every time I watch him, he's just all over the place. And I don't think Beanie Bishop is that from the standpoint of blitzing and, tackling around line of scrimmage. But every time I watch him, he's around the football in coverage. I've watched 3 Steelers games in primetime this year. I believe they've been on 3 times. Maybe twice. I know we saw them a couple weeks ago against Dallas. Feel like they were on again somewhere else, but maybe not. But every time I watch them, and I've watched them in, other spaces, this guy's just around. And that pick was ridiculous because he was keying QB's eye the whole time as he's getting depth and running up the seam. And he turns his body, right? He was face guarding, facing the receiver. So he was in kind of a zone turn. And he turns his body as the ball is delivered, reaches out with one hand, deadens the impact, picks it off. And the game was never the same after that. The Jets then surrendered 24 unanswered points. He had another pick off of a drop by Garrett Wilson, and he returned that down to the half-yard line or so. That turned into a touchdown for the Steelers. He was huge, was Beanie Bishop. But that play, that first interception when it was 15-6, and the Jets they weren't driving yet, but they were one completion. If that's a catch over the middle of the field, they're now officially driving. They're on the Steelers side of the football field. They're in plus territory. Now they look like they're going for more points. Another impactful play was the block field goal that the Steelers had. The Jets' kicking woes continue this season. But let's talk about the Steelers, because I still have my doubts and apprehension about them. Russell Wilson did a really good job tonight of just giving his receivers a chance. No, shit wasn't clean. Guys made plays for him. You had the first deep ball to George Pickens, where Pickens had to go make a play. Like, he literally caught it with one hand, right? Then you had another deep ball to Pickens, or the touchdown. Let's go to the touchdown next. We kind of go in chronological order, where Pickens goes and kind of reaches back because it's not a great ball, reaches back, grabs it, and snatches it over, right? Then you have a Pat Freiermuth one-hand grab on an overthrown football, and then you have another pass that I think was underthrown because it looked like Pickens had one that allowed the defender back into the play. They're now jostling for the football. It comes out, and then Pickens has to then re-catch the football. These weren't great throws, okay? You had the catch by Jaylen Warren on a third down. It's a great job of escaping the pocket, eluding pressure, and extending. But that ball's thrown 2 yards on 3rd and 8, and he makes 2 guys miss and gets up the field and gets the first down. So, again, the numbers for Wilson were good, right? But I think they're a bit misleading. And maybe he'll be sharper as he continues to get reps, continues to play. But he wasn't sharp tonight by any stretch of the imagination. Got off to a slow start. Thought they really bailed him out by making plays for him. But he gave them a chance. That's the difference. And I had said this on the podcast when we were debating on whether this change was necessary and if this was the right move. I said, we know what Justin Fields is. We know what he is. And is there a ceiling on what the Steelers can be with him? Yes, there is. We don't know what Russell Wilson is with this group. He may not be better than Justin Fields, but you have to find out. I think you owe it to yourself to find out. Because they can't throw the football consistently with Fields. That's a fact. And the things that he brings with his legs and his extension of plays, his ability to make something happen on a third down where, you know, everybody may be covered or he doesn't see someone open initially or whatever the case may be and he can take off. That's all great. And you build that into your decision-making process. That's a part of the things that go through your mind when you start making a decision as to whether to keep him as a starter or to go to Russell Wilson. I think the biggest thing, and I said this, that you lose is his ability in the red zone as a runner, that threat that he poses. I would have put packages in. That's the one thing I disagree with Tomlin. I would have treated him on some Taysom Hill type shit. I would have had packages specifically with Fields in the game, in the red zone, because I know what value he brings there, right? I'm not telling you to take Russell Wilson off the field. You can go to wide receiver. You can do whatever you want to do with him, right? But I'm going to use Fields' legs in the red zone as a threat. And he can still throw it, right? If I make him feel like a runner when I bring him in, and people start gearing up, like the first 3-4 times I bring him in, he's doing nothing but running. Quarterback power, you know, speed options, some shit like that, to get teams to think, oh, he's in the game. This is a run. They're going to forget he's a quarterback because we run it so much with him in the game. And then just when you thought it was safe, I'm going to have him fake like he's going to run it and hit you with a T-bow, or fake like he's about to run quarterback draw. You suck up. Here comes a slant. Boom. Touchdown, right? That sort of thing. I think they can build that into what they have, you know, and what they can, you know, sort of do moving forward. But I still don't love the Steelers' offense. I still don't love, like, their makeup of how they get their business accomplished. Like, I don't know if it's a sustainable model of winning come postseason time. Well, this is the issue with the Steelers, right? They win ugly. They find ways to get it done in the regular season. That's how Tomlin wins, you know, 9-10 games, gets into the postseason, and that's why they've lost 5 straight playoff games. That's why they haven't won a playoff game since the Roethlisberger administration. Because they can't get to the postseason, do the things that they did in the regular season to get there, and expect to beat quality opponents. You can beat the Raiders. You can beat the Jets, right? You can beat the Falcons, who, you know, you caught them in week 1, but shit, the Falcons are hit or miss, right? They were awful today. Who else did you beat up on? Some pretty inferior opponents. Then you play the Colts and you go and then you get worked over, right? You play the Cowboys and you can't score enough. And so I wonder with this Steelers team, I wonder if this is a sustainable model for them. I like the offense in terms of their ability to throw it with Russell Wilson in there. And I thought I would, because Fields he doesn't move the needle as a passer. But even Russell Wilson wasn't sharp tonight. That's my thing, is like, I need him to be better than this. And this was his first game, so I'm not going to hold it against him. I just like the fact that he gave guys opportunities to make plays, because they got some dogs out there. Pat Freiermuth is a dog. George Pickens is a dog, right? And at some point, they'll have Roman Wilson, and they'll have all of these weapons out there at once, and all of a sudden, this offense could be even more dynamic. We'll see. I don't think they use Calvin Austin nearly enough. And so they've got talent. There's no question about that. And I think Jaylen Warren changes things when he's out there too. They're not the same offense when he's not available. Even last week, while he didn't look himself, he changes things when he's out there. He gives them another dimension. So there's talent, and now I think Russ is going to give them opportunities to get that talent to football. The one thing I can say is consistently they play Steelers defense. Consistently they'll play Steelers defense. Every now and again you'll get them, and I always like them when there's someone opposite of TJ Watt. For a little stretch there, Highsmith was out, and then you had what's the edge rusher that came in? I think he's got a brother in the league too. And I want to say he's from Wisconsin. He was kicking ass over there against Dallas, and then he got hurt. And I just thought he was rushing his ass off. He was rushing his ass off in previous games. I was like, yo, this dude is impressive. And he got hurt. And then it's just TJ Watt. And it's tough when it's just Watt. When you put somebody opposite of him, it just makes them that much tougher to deal with. And then you start getting guys to play ball in the secondary. You got Minka, you got Joey Porter Jr. Now you got Beanie Bishop stepping up. I've been really impressed with the safety they got from that was in Miami last year that used to play for the Ravens and the Lions. He's been playing really well. He fits the Steeler kind of like mold of physical, like a Ryan Clark type, right? Physical, he'll hit you. You make a mistake, he might pick it off, but he's gonna come down. Like he fits that mold of that Steeler safety. You know, that interchangeable Steeler safety. They usually got one dog, and then the other dude is this interchangeable. He's a fixture though, but he's interchangeable. We can name the last 3 or 4 of these dudes that's been in Pittsburgh that look like this guy. Physical, run around, will hit you. He played really well tonight as well. And so you just look at that Steelers defense, Patrick Queen in there, and I think the Wilson kid is getting more and more comfortable, Peyton Wilson. It's a good defense. It's a really good defense. Special teams has stepped up, blocking kicks, doing all of that shit. You know you can count Chris Boswell, probably one of the most underrated kickers in NFL history, not in the league, in history. Because when we talk about best kickers in the league, his name never gets brought up, but he doesn't miss shit. That's the crazy part, is he don't miss. I can't tell you the last time I seen Chris Boswell miss a kick. I'm pretty sure he's missed one this year. I just don't remember because I don't never see this dude miss, it feels like. And so it's a well-coached team, even if you don't necessarily always agree with the shit that they're coaching and how they go about their business. But you know they're going to play Steelers football. And I do respect the hell out of that. Have an identity, stand for something, because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And that's one thing Mike Tomlin always preaches is we going to play Steelers football. And you know what it looks like. And I don't always love it. It's not always aesthetically pleasing. He doesn't give a shit, right? 16-10, 18-12, 24-23, whatever it is, as long as they got more than the opposition, he'll take it. My question is, no Steelers fan is okay. Like, they're past the point of, hey, let's just make the playoffs. No Steeler fan is content with postseason football. That's it. They need results. They need results. Once you get there. And the question I have is, can you get results with this team as is? Every time we hear about the Steelers or someone coming available via a trade, one of the first names that gets brought up is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And as I look at their roster, I think they got enough offensively. I think they got enough. Offensive line stepped up tonight. You got a what third or fourth center you got in the game tonight. Didn't even know he was there until they mentioned him. He took care of business. Gotta give credit where credit is due, man. 37 points tonight. You were down 15-6. You scored 31 unanswered points. Win this thing going away. Get to 5-2 on the season. Nobody really talking about the Steelers, and rightfully so. I don't want to make this into a Steelers disrespect situation because I disrespected them just a couple of Sundays ago when they played Dallas, and I still feel that same way. I don't think this is a really good team yet. They got to show me. And I think when they start playing divisional play, we're going to find out a lot about them and how they get down. Because they theoretically should sweep the Browns. The Browns are awful. Theoretically speaking, with Watson going down, they should sweep the Browns. By the time they see the Ravens and they see the Bengals, those two teams would have established themselves as whatever they are going to be this season. I think the Ravens have already established themselves as one of the better teams in the AFC. I think the Bengals are trying to reestablish themselves. They're going to need to continue to find ways to win games. They've done that each of the last 2 weeks. I said this was a big 4-game stretch. They've gone 2-0 during that stretch. Now they have 2 more games that they have to win. And then these division games start. And if they haven't already gotten to or surpassed 500 by then, they're in trouble. Talking about Cincinnati. Because you saw the schedule for the Steelers. They play the Giants. That should be a win. You hit your bye. You come off your bye. You got Washington. After Washington, it's Baltimore, and then it's Cincinnati, and then it's Cleveland. So right after that, shit gets real fast. And outside of Baltimore, Washington might be your toughest game in that stretch. So you could add Washington into that stretch of games against your divisional opponents. Because record-wise, we'll see what Baltimore does tomorrow night. Washington is the best team record-wise that you got to face. And they play a physical style of football. So it'll get you sharpened for your AFC South or North, foes that are coming down the pipeline. But it'll be interesting to see what these Steelers do. But once again, it feels like they'll be in the playoffs when this thing gets kicked off. The AFC doesn't, it's not what I thought it was going to be, surprisingly, right? Obviously, we got a lot more time left. We're approaching the midway point. But the AFC East, I thought it'd be who knew Tua was going to get hurt? Who knew the Jets were going to stink like this? Maybe some people thought the Jets were going to stink. We'll get to them in a second. But that whole division is trash. It's just the Bills. That's a one-bid division right now. Till the Jets, tell us otherwise. Right now, that's a one-bid division. The AFC South is horrendous, right? Indianapolis just squeaked by the Dolphins. Anthony Richardson looks like hot-ass garbage. They're 4-3. So we can talk all the shit we want, but they're 4-3. But it's not a sustainable 4-3. You put better teams in front of Indianapolis, and that record can go south very quickly. But they play in a bad division, and they'll play more bad teams. And so probably they'll end up with enough wins to qualify for postseason play. We'll see. But that's the kind of conversation. I didn't think we would be having that in the AFC. That's an NFC conversation, or usually it is. We usually don't have, this team might not be all that good, but, look around. Who's stopping them from getting to the postseason? That's not an AFC conversation. Generally, that's an NFC conversation. When you look at the AFC, Raiders aren't good. I don't know if the Broncos' success or whatever you call what the Broncos are doing right now is sustainable, right? Offensively, they're kind of like the Steelers in the sense that kind of know what you're going to get defensively, not sure what you're going to get every week from them offensively. Quarterback position is a question mark. You just got to figure it out, right? They kind of seem like the same team almost. One's doing it with veteran quarterbacks. The other one's doing it with a rookie, right? Chiefs are the cream of the crop there. If Denver wants to join the fray, cool. If the Chargers want to join the fray, we'll see. I like the Chargers. very similar in their approach to the teams we just talked about. Going to play some defense, going to run the football, going to try to limit the amount of mistakes that are made, see if they get enough points to win the game, right? And then there's the AFC North. And you look around at that division and you're like, Baltimore seems like the cream of the crop, but there's Pittsburgh sitting right there at 5-2 now. And if Baltimore wins, they're both 5-2, right? And you're like, they don't seem like the same. The records are the same, but they don't seem like the same team. But there they are. There go the Steelers right there. You know, Houston threw. I got a lot to say about the Texans. They're not a well-coached team. Their late game execution this season has been atrocious, and they're lucky to be 5-2 right now. They should probably be 4-3 or 3-4 with their late game execution. They are terrible in like game situations and understanding and having situational awareness. They are the worst. And they lose today. They're now 5-2. And so I'm just looking around the AFC and I'm saying, if the Jets ever wake up, if Cincinnati gets their shit together, there's a playoff spot with those teams' names on it. Because I don't know how serious teams like Denver and Indianapolis, and to a lesser degree, this Steelers team are. But we'll find out, right? As the season progresses, we'll find out. But this was an impressive win because it showed resilience. This wasn't a classic Mike Tomlin win because they scored points. In a classic Mike Tomlin win, you win 20-16. You know, you win 17-13, 18-12, 18-10, some shit like that. 19-10, I think, is what you beat. I think you won with 6 field goals in week 1 against the Falcons. Like, that's a Mike Tomlin win. This shit right here, scoring 37 last week, scoring 30, whatever you did against the Raiders. If that's not sustainable in my mind's eye. If you're scoring that many points, this team's gonna be hard to beat. This team's gonna be hard to beat. One thing I can't say about the Steelers is, boy, that fan base is something else. They travel, boy. I've never seen anything quite like what I saw last week against the Raiders. You want to talk about a fan base taking over an NFL stadium. We used to make fun of the Chargers for not having a home field advantage. Like, oh, anybody can come in and take over the Chargers. The Raiders might have it the worst because it's Vegas. Like, who doesn't want to make a trip to go to Vegas? I remember my buddy, he's a Vegas Raiders fan. And we were talking about going to a game. And we weren't talking about going to a Raiders game. We were just talking about going to a football game. And the first thing we both did was, hey, do the Commanders play the Raiders? Right. The first thing you want to know is, do we got a game in Vegas? Because that's the destination, right? Let's hit Vegas. Everybody can make it a weekend to Vegas and then hit the game. But the Steelers fans, they come in no matter where the game is. Shit could be in Alaska in 30 below, and it's going to be 25 to 30,000 Steelers fans there with their damn yellow towels, with those terrible towels. They took over Allegiant. You should have seen it. It was a spectacle. I said, oh, man, damn, how many Steelers home games do they have this year? Kind of felt like the Falcons. Like, how many damn home games you got? Every time I think about a Steelers game this season, you were at home. And then I kept watching, like, wait a minute, this isn't Heinz Field. They're inside. Oh, my God, the Raiders are home. This is ridiculous. They literally took over that field. It was probably 80% Steelers fans. I'm not kidding you. Shit looked like a home game. They're relentless. Do have to give them credit for that. I know they come in and try to take over our stadium in a couple of weeks. About a month from now, rather. But we keep winning. We're going to make it tough on them. But they coming. They're going to infiltrate. I don't know how the hell they do it, but they get there. And they're going to be there. I know they will. Anyway. Big win. They're 5-2. Good bounce back 2 weeks in a row after the loss to Dallas. I mean, they were literally this close from being 6-1 right now. Literally that close. The only, game that they lost, like where they didn't lose at the very end, was the Colts game. They could easily be, and all of their wins have pretty much been like, okay, yeah, no, they won that game. So it's not like, oh, they could easily be, the other way. It could be 2-5 or 3-4 or 4-3. No, they're 5-2, and they easily could have been 6-1. For all the shit that I'm talking, they easily could be 6-1 right now. So I'll just say this. I like what I saw from Russell Wilson because he gave receivers a chance. I did not love his accuracy tonight, but that can get better, right? Hasn't played all season. We're into week 7. All that timing and rhythm and stuff that comes along with reps and having more exposure, that might come down the line and he might get better rhythm with these guys. And you'll see the ball be a little bit more accurate, but he's giving receivers a chance. And that's something that Fields didn't really do. So the Jets, man, where do I start? I want to start here with the Jets. They're now 2-5. They're now a full 3 games back of the Bills. And the Bills are like, they're driving and there is no one in the rearview mirror, right? They're having the time of their life. They're singing their hearts out. The radio's up loud and they got no care in the world. It must be nice, right? I think that's the biggest lead anybody has in their individual division right now. And the Chiefs are undefeated and they don't even have that big of a gap between them and second place. Now the Chargers lose and it'll be that same 3-game gap. But if the Chargers win on Monday Night Football, they'll be 4-2. And so they won't be 3 games back, right? They'll be a game and a half back of the Chiefs. So, unbelievable that the Jets are this inept. And you know what? I had a revelation watching the game tonight. And some of y'all be like, duh. Could have told you that 2-3 weeks ago. Well, I was being stubborn because I kept waiting for the old Aaron Rodgers to just pop up. Because sometimes you just got to pop out and show teams, I'm still here. And every now and again, I'll get a flash. And so I was like, I'm just waiting for the old Aaron to show out and give me what I know he's capable of. But tonight, I came to the realization that there's no the old Aaron Rodgers. It's just the old Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is old. He's old. Ain't no, the old Aaron, the AR-12, that dude is gone, bro. He's just old Aaron Rodgers. There's no the in the front of it. No, the old Aaron Rodgers is old Aaron Rodgers. He can't move. He's a sitting duck back there. The old Aaron Rodgers would get out of that bitch and extend and then throw a frozen rope for a completion. The old Aaron Rodgers, you give him a little bit of time in that pocket, he's pinpoint accurate. He ain't throwing no damn interception on a seam route. The old Aaron Rodgers, he ain't going to allow a rookie corner to get him twice in the same game, albeit the second interception wasn't his fault. Aaron is throwing picks left and right. And some of these shits, this ain't on the opponents. This ain't on your guys. This on you. He just old Aaron Rodgers. He looks old. I'm not saying he's washed, but he looks old. He's not nimble. He's not as accurate as he used to be. He's not that creator he once was. If you sneeze at him, he falls down. Like, he's bleeding all over himself. Like, he's just old Aaron Rodgers. And I realized that tonight. I put too much faith in what my eyes have seen over the years, and I got to let that shit go because it ain't coming back more likely than not. Devontae Adams ain't going to save this Jets team. Hassan Reddick coming is not going to save this Jets team because they needed the old Aaron Rodgers and they got old Aaron Rodgers. And tonight it hit me like a ton of bricks. So I know what it is now. And I know what I got to do from here on out. But you know what else has been stunning? And you could bore me. Spare me your sorry details. All right. You could bore me with all the, oh, well, we had this many guys hurt, and we had this guy out, and everybody got injuries. Some more than others, but that's football. It's life in the league. The Jets aren't as good as they used to be defensively. And I would love to blame it on Jeff Ulbrich calling plays and trying to be an interim head coach, and the two don't mesh. Like, you needed to get that shit up. Now you got head coaching responsibility. Man can't even throw the challenge flag without fumbling that bitch. It's turnovers all over the place with this Jets team. Coach getting in on it. But they were asked defensively before Jeff Ulbrich took over as the interim, before they fired Robert Saleh. The defense wasn't itself. Started in week 1 when they went to San Fran and got ran all over. They haven't been great defensively. So you got old Aaron Rodgers. You can't run the ball with Breece Hall for whatever reason. I can't put my finger on why you can't run the football. Maybe because you got an old-ass offensive line. You went chasing after a chip, and instead of doing it with youth, you went after it with old-ass dudes who can't move in Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith. So now you can't run the football effectively. So now there's more pressure on Aaron Rodgers, not to mention your pass protection ain't holding up because you got old-ass tackles. And so one problem begets the next problem that puts you in another position to have more problems. And now add the defense, which used to be the strength of this team. When you didn't have a quarterback, you could rely on the defense to hold the opposition to less than fill in the blank points, probably 23, 20, right? A lot of times they were holding quarterbacks and teams to their worst performances of the season. And the offense just wasn't good enough. Now you finally got some semblance of offense. It still ain't great. And you've got a future first ballot Hall of Famer at quarterback. And now your defense is ass too. I don't really know what to tell you. So the offense ain't good. You got old Aaron Rodgers, and you can't run the football. And now your defense stinks. Oh, and your kicking game is trash. Absolute trash right now with Greg Zuerlein. Missed 2 against the Bills, hit the upright, got 1 block tonight. He's got the worst field goal percentage in the league of anybody with a minimum of 2 kicks. Man's now, I think he's 8 of 13 on the season. Yeah, that's nasty work. You're approaching the 60s as a field goal kicker. That's never good. It's never good. It's a lot fundamentally wrong with this Jets team. You are what your record says you are. You're 2-5 for a reason. Like, we can't make this stuff up. And here's the beauty of it. We've watched most of these games. We watched you against the 49ers in week 1. They put all of these shits on TV for us, forced us to watch this shit. Every year when the league picks a team and designates them as being good before they're actually good, this is what happens. We get shit. When the league told us Russell Wilson's in Denver, we're going to put him on the TV 6 times in the first 5 weeks of the season. We're going to put him on 6 times. More games than we actually got weeks of the season. I was like, what are we doing here, man? This is the 6th time I've watched the Broncos, and it's only week 5. How is that possible? And we were watching 11-10 games. Y'all remember that shit? 11-10? This Jets team is awful. They're awful. Watched them against New England. Watched them against the Bills. Watched them again tonight. They're awful. It's not a good team. They're not well coached. They're discombobulated. They're disjointed. Their body language stinks. There's no cohesion. It looked like a owner and a doofus in Woody Johnson that just said, hey, go out, get as many players from as many different destinations as you can. Throw them all together. Don't let them practice together. Just figure the shit out on the fly. That's what the New York Jets look like to me. You went out and got this guy. You traded for a dude. Then you knew he wanted a contract. Didn't give him a contract. And then it's just expected him to show up. Like, to me, that's a microcosm of the Jets right now, right? Is you trade for Hassan Reddick. He's already in a contract dispute with his former team, the Philadelphia Eagles. He wants a new deal, doesn't want to play for them because they don't want to pay him. And he says, hey, just know if you trade for me, I need a new deal. And they're like, yeah. We'll figure all of that shit out. Just come on. They get him, and he's like, yo, so what's up with that deal y'all talked about? Oh, man, yeah, about that, man. We had to go get Aaron some stuff, man, a couple tackles, and, you know how we do it, man. You know, he's like, nah, I don't know nothing about that. Like, where my money at? Come on, man, stall us out, man. You know we good for it, man. Come on. And he's like, are you serious right now? You don't have my money. Bet. I'm out. And they just kept adding players. Right? That's what they did. And none of this shit looks fluid. None of this shit looks cohesive. And then you fire your coach 5 weeks in. As you're going into a game for first place on Monday Night Football, you fire your head coach. I hope the Jets finish 4 or 5 games under 500. Just so Woody Johnson looks like a stupid dumbass. Because he deserves it. He actually followed the Jerry Jones model of all in, but the opposite of it by actually going all in, but he did it in such a sloppy fashion that he deserves the same type of lack of success as the Cowboys are having right now. And oh, by the way, yay, we get Cowboys 49ers next week. 3-3 versus 3-4. Who had that on your bingo card? Yikes. Zoink, scoop. That should be fun. Right? I guess. I don't know. Stop asking. 37-15 is the final score tonight. Jets are now 2-5 and in search of some answers. It was sad watching them continue to pan to Breece Hall and Devontae Adams sitting on the bench, looking like they were sitting at the bus stop and they just missed the bus. And that was their final chance at getting a job. And they had a job interview, and now they ain't gonna get the job, and they know, what are we gonna do now? Like, they both just had that empty stare, like, and I just felt. Devontae went from one shitty team to another shitty team, but at least he's got his buddy, right? He had a loser mentality anyway. I don't know if you can win games with a dude who's chasing greatness. He's not chasing wins and losses. He's chasing greatness. Oh, man, I love it. I love it. Anyway, I digress. Y'all know what it is. Let's jump into Inside the Odds, and this is going to be a different one. I'm going to hit y'all with something a little different tonight. Let's go Inside the Odds, brought to you by Bet US.
Inside the Odds.
Looking for a new book this season, and you should be all over it right now. We got the World Series matchup here with the Dodgers and the Yankees. I mean, if that isn't as legacy of a matchup as you can get in Major League Baseball, I don't know what is. Dodgers, Yankees, that's one that's epic. All right. So you got that going on. NBA starts this week. NHL is just kicked off, and they've probably like 2 weeks into their season. You're right in the swing of things in the middle of the NFL season. College basketball is going to start up here the next couple of weeks. College football is in full throat. Like, what are you doing, right? BetUS has you covered. Fastest payouts in the industry. Get up to 10% back on your net losses twice a year. And here's the big kicker. Go over to betus.com and use the promo code YouTube150 to get 150% off your first deposit of up to $2,000. And then your next 2 deposits, 125% sign-up bonus when you use that promo code YouTube150. Let's talk about these odds here. Off the Bet US site. The odds to be the next New York Jets head coach is what you're looking at right here. I'm more interested in the names than I am the actual odds, right? Who's the favorite, et cetera, et cetera. As you can see, Bill Belichick is the favorite right now to be the next Jets head coach. Highly unlikely, I feel like that's going to be the case. Obviously, he was the Jets head coach for what? Like a day or two? Whatever he was back in like 1999, right? So I just don't know if he fits in New York. I think he's more likely to go somewhere else. I don't think Dallas is a great fit for him either, but maybe he ends up there. Vegas seems like a better fit if something goes off the rails with Antonio Pierce, but with Brady there is one of the minority owners. I don't know, but Belichick, Pete Carroll coming back, that's an easy name to forget about, but Pete got run out of Seattle. Pete's old as dirt, though. I don't know if Pete coming back is a good thing, right? Rex Ryan, never coaching again in the NFL, I don't think. John Gruden is interesting. Feel like he's been blackballed. So, but then again, I thought that the Vikings defensive coordinator was blackballed, and then thank God for Mike Tomlin, who gave him a job, got him back in the league, and he's thriving again. So maybe John might have a shot, right? Ben Johnson, he clearly doesn't want a team that doesn't have an established quarterback. I mean, they got Aaron Rodgers, but that's not the kind of team he's looking for, right? He's already made it abundantly clear. He wants a tailor-made situation. I think he's waiting for Andy Reid to retire so he can go to Kansas City. That's my guess. Mike Vrabel, that's a good one. I like Mike Vrabel, and I like him in New York with the Jets. That's a good one. He's plus 400. He's the second in terms of these odds, and that's a good name. That's one that I didn't even think about. I think Mike's in Cleveland right now. That's a good name. That's a good name. Bobby Slowick, plus 700. If I'm Bobby Slowick, I want nothing to do with this Jets organization. There's got to be a different job, different situation. I'm not fooling around with this shit. Todd Monken, offensive coordinator, obviously in Baltimore, plus 1,200. Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator in Detroit, plus 1,200. Arthur Smith, we saw him tonight on the Steelers sideline as their offensive coordinator. Matt Nagy, offensive coordinator in Kansas City. Jeff Albrecht, plus 600. He's not keeping his job. He ain't keeping his job. Terrell Austin, Adam Stenovich, Brian Flores, just talked about him in Minnesota. Don't think he's getting it. Bobby Babbage, our guy, Cliff Kingsbury, if you're a Commanders fan, is plus 1,400 in here. I don't see Cliff wanting to go into that zoo, right? That's Kellen Moore. Nah, don't see it. Ron Rivera, don't see it. Tony Romo, Deion Sanders, don't see any of those guys. Tom Brady, no, he's an NFL owner now, so he's not coaching anywhere. Joe Brady, doing a really good job in Buffalo. That's an interesting name. Still don't think that's the move. Jesse Minter, he is where? Is he in Baltimore? Is he in Los Angeles? I think he's in Los Angeles as the defensive coordinator with the Chargers under John Harbaugh. Zach Robinson, offensive coordinator in Atlanta. Nick Sorensen, Jim Schwartz, Dan Pitcher. Let's keep going. Brian Schottenheimer, Wes Phillips, Greg Roman, Vic Fangio, Jim Bob Cooter, Shane Waldron, Liam Cohen, Clint Kubiak, Mike LaFleur, Frank Smith, Gus Bradley, Chris Shula, Jeff Hafley, DeMarcus Covington, Zach Orr, Mike Kafka, Ejiro Evero, Drew Pretzing, Patrick Graham, Nathaniel Hackett. That's a funny name. That name doesn't even belong on this list. He couldn't even call the plays for this team, let alone be their head coach. You're right. Lane Kiffin, Lincoln Riley might get fired at USC. Like, his seat is getting increasingly hot. You play with the big boys play now. You don't play in the Pac-12 no more, where you get to win 10, 11 games. Well, the shit, he wasn't even doing that when they were in the Pac-12, right? Couldn't beat Washington. Matt Rule, not coming back to the NFL. Steve Sarkisian, not coming back to the NFL. He got a good job going at Texas. Jim Harbaugh. And why would he leave the Chargers? And then Nick Saban. Can't see him coming back to the NFL either. Don't see him coaching anymore. For what? So those are the names. I wonder if the guy that ends up getting this job is off this list provided to us by BetUS. I wonder if their next head coach is on this list. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Mike Vrabel is the one that sticks out like a sore thumb to me. I think he fits their culture, like whatever the hell that is. Like to me, they have a tough-minded defensive type of roster that requires good coaching, which Vrabel is a really good coach. I thought he was underrated in Tennessee. And I think they could use a shot in the arm with a guy like Mike Vrabel, but I'm actually shocked that Vrabel was not really in any of the conversations this offseason. And maybe that's an indictment on Mike Vrabel. Maybe that's the league speaking that maybe he's not as good as we thought. Just thought he would have been more sought after, at least in an interview situation where teams are like, yo, let me wrap up with Mike a little bit and just check the temperature, see what he's talking about. I don't even recall him being involved. There were 8 or 9 coaching vacancies last offseason. I don't remember him getting interviewed for any of them. Now that we speak about it, I don't remember him being a part of any of them. And I think he and Tennessee parted ways rather early in the process where it wouldn't have been an issue. Huh. Interesting. Anyway, I digress. I got another one, but I'm going to save that one for another time because guess what? We got the Jets in a couple of weeks on Thursday Night Football. Yay! On Halloween. I'll save that for then. Just in case they still effing up, I'll have something to talk about. Let's get to your comments. And just so y'all know, if you're out there, you want your comment read, and we got a little bit of time going. We'll get to some of those comments. Use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air if it's pertinent and time permits. We'll get to it. But if you want to ensure that your comment is read, super chats are the way to do that. So, JLG, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, happy for Russ and Coach T. I thought they would make a good pairing before the season started. Could this Steelers team be different in the playoffs? I got to see more. Right now, I'm not sold. You know, this is the thing, and I said this already. I just love the fact that Russ is giving these playmakers an opportunity to make plays because they got playmakers, right? I saw more. I mean, I saw the same play 6 times where they threw it to the big tight end after he blocked out in the flats. But I saw more opportunities for these dudes to make plays in one game than I had the previous 6 combined, you know. And he throws a beautiful, you know, very catchable ball down the field because he puts air under it. So even like Justin Fields, everything's flat. Everything's on a frozen rope. It's flat. And either you're going to catch the bitch or you're not. Like he's not going to give you, there's no room for error, right? Either you're going to catch the shit or you're not. With Russ, there's room for error, right? And so you can stick a paw out there. It's a soft ball. It'll give you a chance to. Justin's throwing missiles out there. 99-mile-an-hour fastballs, whether you 5 yards from them or 55 yards from them. And that shit's coming on a frozen rope. Either you catch it to protect yourself or it can get ugly, right? With Russ, that shit comes falling out of the sky like a raindrop. So you're going to have a shot. And you saw guys making plays. I do like that. And can he get more accurate as time progresses? Yeah, absolutely. And if he does, that will change things for them potentially. Yeah. But I'm not buying it yet. I'm not buying it yet. Could be different. But I got to see it. Elf Life. Been a member for 4 months who writes, next Super Friends, Wednesday night at 8:30, I think, 8:30 p. I think. Wednesday night. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Greatly. Thank you for doubling up. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, this Jets team is like that commercial with Moss and everyone unretiring. They old as hell. Yeah, it is. I think we should play again, right? And no, you shouldn't. Like Tyron Smith needs to retire. Aaron Rodgers probably needs to hang it up here shortly. And you know, Momo probably shouldn't be too far behind. And Cobb, Randall Cobb just retired, right? He was there last year. And you just look at that squad and you're like, man, you got a lot of old geezers over here, man, trying to chase after something. Devontae ain't no spring chicken either. He not ready to retire yet, but video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, Dan Quinn, coach of the year. At least 4 more wins for the offs. He should be in a discussion. He probably won't win. Somebody will, be, oh my God, look at the job this guy's done. Can you believe it? Like somebody will come out of nowhere and steal our thunder. But who had the Commanders playing like this in year 1, turning it around like this? Nobody did. So he's going to be in the conversation. He'll get some votes. I don't think he'll win it though. But I think he should be in the discussion. But we got to see. We got a lot more season to go. But yeah, and if we get to the mid-season awards, I would think he would be, a favorite right now in that discussion for sure. JLG, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, thoughts on Najee Harris? I think he's average and the Steelers could do better. I told you I have a love-hate relationship with Najee Harris. Like, 1 minute I'm like, yo, he's so basic. I hate the way he runs in terms of like how his steps, like he takes baby steps when he runs. It feels like he's not going anywhere when he runs, but he runs so hard and physically, and he can catch, and he does a lot of good things. But he doesn't instill fear in me. If I'm playing the Steelers, I'm not like, yo, man, how the hell are we going to stop Najee Harris? I'm more concerned with Jaylen Warren, to be honest with you. But I think that's why they work together. But when Najee gets going, he's another one of those dudes. You let him get downhill and get ahead of steam, man. He's a load to deal with. He really is. But he isn't like this dynamic, back. But he kind of fits what the Steelers are too. I think they didn't pick up his 5th-year option, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. It makes sense. It makes sense. But he fits their brand of football. I'll just say that. He fits their brand of football. Hunter Hodovic, been a member for 31 months. Who writes, sup, T? Had to work today. Thoughts on the game? It was a roller coaster of emotions. You went from Carolina driving the ball on the opening possession. You're like, here we go with this bullshit, to them throwing a pick 6 and kicking the, kind of getting the party started, changing everything defensively. And then the offense, the defense gets another stop, gets the ball back to the offense. But we pin deep in our own territory. Jaden rips off this massive run, and you're like, yeah, here we go. We off to the races on these boys. We about to boat race them. And then Jaden didn't look right. And you're like, that's odd. Is he all right? And everybody's trying to convince me he's okay because you want him to be okay. And I'm like, I don't think he's okay. And then finally, the 3rd time he ran the football, you're like, he's not okay. This is not okay. Now I'm worried. Right? Then he gets to the sidelines. We kick a field goal, and they're massaging his, rib area, and he's in discomfort. And next thing you know, he's in the blue tent, and then he tries to throw some passes to see if he can go back out because the defense got another 3-and-out stop. and he throws some passes, and he winces in pain, and it's not working. He takes his helmet off. He slams it. We've never seen that kind of emotion from Jaden, and I'm like, oh, shit, this is bad. No! And then Marcus Mariota's missing wide open receivers, and instead of this game being 8 gajillion to 0, it's 10-0, and the Panthers are hanging around for a little while. Then and the defense got another stop, and then it's 13-0, and we wasted an Emmanuel Forbes pick. We got no points out of that because Mariota's missing dudes. Then we get the 4th down stop. We go down, we get a touchdown, 17-0. Then, Marcus is still kind of off, so we're just running it. And then it's 20-0. And we get pinned deep in our own territory. We still haven't heard anything about Jaden. We're getting close to halftime, and we're like, yo, what the F, bro? Like, what's going on with our quarterback? Is this long-term? What's going on? Don't throw it with this guy. He might turn it over and let the Panthers back in the game. And then all of a sudden, we get this, wave of good news. One, Jaden's fine. His mom told us on social media. So now you're like, okay, we're running with that because it's the first real update we've gotten from anybody. Then Marcus magically comes to life on the final drive right before the half, takes us all the way down the field, scores a touchdown. Now it's 27-0 at half, and you're like, okay, the game's over. Now, what's going on with Jaden Daniels? Start the second half, we get the ball first, we march it down the field, we score again. Jaden comes out, thumbs up, waves to the fans, tell everybody, I'm all right. He's kicking on the sidelines, breath of fresh. Now you can enjoy the game. Emmanuel Forbes got a pick today. Let me say it again, Hunter. Emmanuel Forbes got a pick today. We had a lot of fun today, Hunter. 40-7. The only thing we didn't get today was a shutout. Total team victory. All 3 facets. Total domination. It's the best game we've played all season. And that's saying something because we've had some total domination games this year, but the defense was lights out. Panthers had less than 200 yards of total offense. Panthers were 3 of 10 on 3rd downs. Panthers turned it over twice. We got a pick 6 on defense. We didn't turn it over at all. Marcus Mariota went 18 of 23 for 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He ran it effectively. B-Rob looked good. Jeremy McNichols looked good. Austin Eckler was fine. The tight ends, Ben Sinnott caught his first touchdown pass of his career. It also doubled as his first catch in the NFL. So that was a great moment. Zach Ertz got in the end zone. So both the tight ends, none of the tight ends coming into the game had touchdowns on the season. Now both Ertz and Sinnott walk away with touchdown grabs in this game. So yeah, it was a really fun game. Terry almost had 100 yards receiving. He had 6 catches, 98 yards on 6 targets. Yeah, it was that type of game. Anyway, I digress. Chauncey Davis. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, CDOG Triple OG. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, Lou, Chauncey. Been a fan since the George Allen days. First game I ever attended in person. Really? That's surprising. You've been a fan that long. Scary moment when JD5 went down, but like you can say, but like only you can say, it's different. That young man is different, and his presence changes everything. Changes everything. I bet you it sounded quiet on watching it on TV. I bet the stadium was like a hush. But somebody, put it perfectly. Because he didn't like the Giants game, it got radio silent when he got hurt because the game stopped and he had to leave the field. He didn't leave the field, so you really didn't know what. Like, we knew at home because we got the close-ups of him getting up, clutching his midsection and grimacing. We got the close-ups there. You watching the game, in person in the stadium. You're not seeing his face. You can't see if you're in section 238. You can't see his face and see him grimacing and holding his side. He looks like he's fine. So you had no idea he was hurt. It wasn't until the offense came back on the field, or maybe you saw him go into the blue tent if you're watching the sideline, then you go, wait, what the hell's wrong with Jaden? You know, what's going on there? Or he came back on the field, or, you know, the offense comes back on the field. Marcus Mariota's out there, and you're like, oh, whoa. Where's 5? Where's 5 at? So once they realize, yo, something's up, I think that's when it probably got a little quiet in the stadium, I would guess. But it is different. You know that. You know what it is. Hunter Hodovic, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My God, Double H writes, secondly, I hope you and yours are thriving, man. Likewise, Hunter. Likewise. I appreciate you. Hunter Hodovic, double up. Thank you for doubling up. My guy Hunter writes, yeah, I watched the highlights, man. Teared up during the ceremony. Looked like an incredibly fun game. Misfits popping off in Mariota, Fowler, and Forbes. Look, man. Fowler got the game ball. Loved it, right? Forbes got his first pick of the season. Loved it. Mariota went out there, did what you pay a backup quarterback to do. Come into a game and slang that thing. Like, they didn't treat him with kid gloves. Look, he's a veteran, been around the block. They're confident in what he can do. And they didn't treat him like a baby, man. They didn't, like, we were all screaming, hey, run the ball. They was like, empty set, bitch. This is what we do. We run the ball. That's a former Heisman Trophy winning quarterback right there. We ain't running shit. We finna empty this set, and Marcus gonna have 19 seconds to throw this bitch, and he'll find somebody eventually. And that's what he did. A lot of fun. Any game that you win in this fashion is fun. You know, I haven't had this much fun as a fan since 2012, and we weren't winning games like this in 2012. As a matter of fact, we were winning games like this in 2015, though. That's probably, I lied. That's the last time I had fun like this, was 2015. And even that team was inconsistent as hell. We still had the Monday night game with Deshaun Jackson fumbling the punt return against Matt Cassell and what was the damn running back from Arkansas? Darren McFadden. And we lost to those bums, the bums that got a top 5 pick the next year because they were so trash, drafted Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott in 2016. We lost to those bums in 2015 on a Monday night. So we were inconsistent as hell in 2015. That's not what this group is. JLG, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. JLG writes, Lou, I hope, he says, Lou, I know how you feel about buying jerseys, but have you changed your mind at all? No, I have not. I don't buy jerseys. The only jersey I would buy is a Scottie Pippen jersey. Like, I have no desire to rock a jersey, especially an NFL jersey. Because like I said, you know, I got a couple at the crib, you know, but my jersey days are over with. I leave that for the young boys. I leave that for y'all out there. I'm good on jerseys. No changing of my mind. I just enjoy from a distance in terms of the jersey game. Chauncey Davis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. CD OG, triple OG, right? Even though we got that 40 burger, you could feel it. The concern was JD5, okay? Couldn't really celebrate. B-Rob in person running is a beast. Yeah, so y'all felt it in the stadium too then. It was hard to really enjoy until we could, felt like we were holding our collective breaths, and it was hard to enjoy until we could exhale. And we didn't get to exhale until really right before halftime. And for some of us, like myself, the mom's post wasn't even good enough. It wasn't until JD5 came out like a politician waving and shit that I was like, oh, that Denzel meme when he goes, that's the shit I was all like, oh, bro, you tried to send me into cardiac arrest. Don't do that. B-Rob is a difference maker. He really, truly is, without question. without question. He really, truly is. Let's grab a couple comments. See what you guys have to say. John Wynn says, did I see the video from Bad Dog? I haven't watched any Bad Dog, but you're the second person that brought it up. Maybe I do need to go check it out. It ain't gonna be nothing but Bad Dog screaming for about 12 minutes, ranting about how bad Daniel Jones sucks and this, that, and the third. But I might go check it out. You're the second person that brought it up. Metaphor says Aaron about to disown Wilson after that drop in the numbers that tipped to the interception, ruining the man's legacy. Fired. Hey, I'm just glad we won't have one of those because Aaron will throw your ass under the bus quick, fast, and in a hurry. But he ain't gonna do that to Wilson. He really likes him. He really likes him. Colin talking sports writes, Robert Saleh fired after week 5 loss. Devontae Adams trade after week 6 loss. What moves will Rod GM make after this loss? Oh, trade Williams. I guess that's the next one coming. So my guess would be Aaron Rodgers, the GM, trades Williams, the receiver. I felt bad for him tonight. He made a big catch on a 4th down. He got pumped. And then right as he got hyped up, they told him come off the field. He was like, come on, man. I just got out here and made a catch, man. Y'all gonna take me out of the goddamn game, man. This is some bullshit. I felt bad. I was like, man, don't worry. Help is coming. Somebody about to rescue you, bro. Somebody coming to get you. Don't worry. Hang in there, man. Hang in there. Van Negro Jones, right? I'm sorry. I just can't forgive this Steelers team for losing to Dallas. Cal Pukes. Yeah, man. Yeah. I get it. Herbig. That's the name of the edge rusher. Herbig. And his brother is in the league, or was. Herbig was getting busy, man. That he was another dude that was getting busy. Thank you for that. Casper the Barbarian. Let's see. Let's see. Haval writes, Louie, what is going on with Mahomes? He's having an absolute atrocious season. I thought he was mid last year, yet he's looking even worse this year somehow. I mean, I can't say that he is playing extremely well. The numbers don't bear that out, obviously, but they're winning games. And I said, this is really terrifying for the league. That what you just said is a thing, right? That people are like, yo, what the hell's going on with Mahomes? The numbers that him and Brock Purdy were posting in this game at half was laughable. It was some bad shit. But you gotta realize, what does he have? He went into this game with Juju Smith-Schuster. What's the dude that got a running back number at receiver? 24. Like, who does that? What are you doing? Take 24 off, bro. He stinks. He had a drop. What's the white dude name they got from Tampa Bay that sometimes catch it, sometimes don't? 84. Can't remember his name. And then you got a rookie. And then you got McCole Hardman. Like, he's working with table scraps at receiver, which is why I think they're going to try to do something before this trade deadline is up. But they're still finding ways to win. Like, he had a couple of crazy runs today, ran a dude over in the end zone, tiptoed down the sideline and ran for about 35, 40. That's scary that he's not playing great ball and they're undefeated. He makes winning plays and their defense is crazy. And yeah, no, he's not playing the type of football that you got accustomed to seeing the first, 5-6 years. But he hasn't had the supporting cast that he's had, but he knows how to win. He knows how to win. Matter of fact, let's look at his numbers from today, since you brought it up. He was 16 of 27, 154 yards, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. Like, and that's not the first game where you've seen numbers like that where you go, "Ugh, what the hell was that about?" And some of these interceptions, you'd be like, "Yo, Pat, what's good, bro? You all right? You good?" He missed Xavier Worthy for a touchdown on a deep ball. He didn't used to miss those. Overshot him by about 2 yards. He's not locked in like we are accustomed to seeing, but they're finding ways to win. That's the most important thing. And that's scary because if they get healthy or they trade for somebody and the pieces start to fall back into place, look out, right? Look out. Hold on, got another super. Hunter Hodovic, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Double H, writes, a lot of rumors of us being buyers before the deadline. Do you have a list of those you'd actually trade for at the right price? I've seen a lot of D-Hop. Nah, I don't really have a list of anybody. I don't really think we're going to be buyers at this trade deadline. I think that he's monitoring. You'd be a fool to think that Chef P isn't working the phones, kind of just taking inventory of everything that is available and what teams are asking for and kind of seeing if that price drops or if it falls into our wheelhouse. But I really don't see this team making a move anywhere, right? Corner would be, one of those places, but even that feels somewhat out of reach. Doesn't feel like it's attainable because don't really see many, difference-making, needle-moving players available via trade. But if one does come available, it would be interesting to see if he pulled the trigger or not. But I don't see them going after a receiver. I don't think we need one, to be honest with you. Like, we don't even throw the ball to Luke McCaffrey. Like, we still got guys that aren't being utilized on a weekly basis. Like, we got enough stuff. So I just don't see the need to go out and get another guy to add to the mix. I think if they're going to do something, it would be on the defensive side, whether it's a defensive tackle, edge rusher, something like that. I can see them going down that path, but I don't really see them doing much. I'm going to be honest with you. Don't really see much happening in that regard. Kevin the PRF writes, I have a terrible illness. I need intervention. I keep picking the Jets. I keep saying this is the week they get it together just enough to pull out a win, and the disease spreads. I got the same thing you got, but here's the thing, and I can help you. Let's have an intervention together. The first step on the road to recovery is admitting you have a problem. I admitted I had a problem tonight, which is what I said at the top of this show with the Jets. I kept waiting for the old Aaron to show up, and I figured it out tonight. It's just old Aaron Rodgers. He ain't coming. He ain't coming back to save it. I kept being that kid who's waiting for his dad to come pick him up, looking out the window. Dad said he was coming at 7 o'clock, and Dad'll be here any minute. 6:55. Then it's 7:05. Dad said he was coming at 7. He'll be here. Now it's 7:15. Mom, have you heard from Dad? No, I haven't heard from your dad, son. Well, it's 7:30. He probably just got stuck in traffic. Now it's 7:45. Now it's 8:30. And Mom's like, hey, son, you hungry? You want to eat? No, Dad's probably going to show up. I'll just get something when I get to his house. Now it's 9 o'clock. Mom's like, son, you want to take a bath and I don't know if he's coming. He'll be here, Mom. He's coming. And then finally at 10 o'clock, you kind of resign to the fact that he ain't coming. I think I finally got there with the Jets tonight. The old Aaron Rodgers ain't showing up. He ain't coming. It's just old Aaron Rodgers. I'll pick him maybe 3 or 4 more times this year. They play the Patriots again, right? They'll get a couple more. But if they playing somebody with some real chops, F them boys. I can't do it. They got me for the last damn time. That's for sure. SP. Right? I was having a meltdown when Jaden got hurt. The start of this season was the least hope I've had in any season since started watching me, the most hope probably. He single-handedly has given me hope. Oh, you talking about the start of the season when we went into the season, you just didn't have any hope. And he has single-handedly given you hope. You and probably 9/10 of this fan base. I mean, we're all right there with you, SP. Like, this dude has changed everything this year. And yeah, like wherever we're gonna go, I've said this already. Wherever we're going, he's gonna take us, and we'll only get as far as the defense will allow us to go. If that makes sense. So him not being healthy, or the thought of him not being healthy, oh, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about it. Just glad he's okay, man. Yikes. Kevin the PRF. If the team leading the division loses to the Giants at home, are you the weakest division in football? Hashtag NFC Westless. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know what to make of that division. The NFC West is like enigma right now. I mean, I left Seattle for dead last week after the loss, and on Thursday night, and they go to Atlanta, and I can't figure out the Falcons for the life of me. They hate playing at home. Like they've had more home games than anybody in the league, and they have only won one of them. Like, or two of them. I think they beat New Orleans and they beat Tampa Bay, but they should have lost both of those games. They hate playing at home. We've had 7 games this season. The Falcons have played 5 of them at home. I've never seen anything like it. They've lost 3 of them. Chiefs, Steelers, and now they lost to the Seahawks, and they beat the Saints and the Bucks at home. 5 out of your first 7 at home. I've never seen anything like it. And they're 2-3 at home. I don't know what to make of that NFC West, man. 49ers look like hot garbage. The Rams are just hanging around, hanging around. I don't know what to do with the Cardinals. I think I know who they are, but that division, I don't know, man. I don't know. Somebody will be leading that division. I think Seattle has a winning record, right? They're 4-3, right? Yeah, they're 4-3. So at least somebody's got a winning record. Sean McKenzie writes, I love what I saw today. I like how we stopped Hubbard, especially despite Armstrong and Allen out. Kingsbury is a beast. With JD5 out and Mariota in, looks like the offense didn't miss a beat. Because they can run a lot of the same stuff that we run, and we didn't lose the no huddle aspect because Mariota is a veteran and he was able to come in and, get everybody lined up and do the things that we have been doing. It was like an extension of what we had been doing, just on a much smaller scale because he's not JD5, right? But that's what the backup is supposed to do. He's supposed to come in and be able to facilitate the offense. He's supposed to be able to come in and give you something, give you something. So I love Joe Flacco. He's a veteran, and I know when Joe comes in, he's going to give me something. It ain't always going to be good, but he's going to give me something. That's why I can't stand Jacoby Brissett. Right? Because, last year when he came in, he gave us something because we ain't have shit. So you come in and you down 30 points. Yeah, the defense is going to let you have some shit. Then people start going crazy. Jacoby Brissett, this, that. Jacoby Brissett is ass. Jacoby Brissett is 17 of 25 for 148 yards, no touchdowns, no interception. That ain't the kind of guy I want playing for me. You got to do something. I'd rather you throw 2 interceptions and no touchdowns than no interceptions and no touchdowns, because you ain't doing shit. Do something. Push, pull, do something, right? Marcus came in and threw 2 touchdowns. You don't want to keep seeing Marcus, because eventually Marcus is going to throw 2 interceptions, right? Marcus was doing some real risky shit out there. I know you seen it. Marcus trying to jump over dudes like it's 2016. Like, no, hey. We up 37-7, bro. No, don't do that. You understand? Don't do that. Jaden's hurt. Don't do that. Okay? Chill, bro. Like, I told you, he don't have no off switch. You either getting all the Marcus or none of them. Niners fan, right? It's gotten to the point where I either get PTSD when I see 15, and so does our entire team. It's interesting to see. My wife, it's funny you bring it up, because my wife said, why when those 2 teams play each other, they always play that type of game? And I'm like, they 2 good teams. That's what happens when 2 good teams play each other. But I think it is a little different when y'all see the Chiefs for some reason. Just, I don't know. The shit that was going on, like Ayuk had an easy drop on a big play, and then Purdy threw a bad interception, like overthrew the dude, like almost to the point where you're like, bro, were you trying to throw that out of bounds? Like, what the hell was that shit? Like, just a lot of weird shit going on. You know what I mean? But that's kind of been your season too. A lot of, fugazi stuff going on. But yeah. Double up. Writes. That A-Rod analogy woke up buried feelings that I didn't need to experience again, Lou. I'm sorry, man. That's what it felt like, though. Because you just keep waiting and waiting, and it's not coming in it. I realized that tonight. And that was a hard admission for me, because I keep taking L's unnecessarily. And sometimes you just got to let it go, man. Sometimes you got to let it go. Just Andre says, I want to see what Joe Witt Jr.'s defense looks like with decent corners. I've noticed the past 2 weeks, players are going after the ball. They're getting more and more acclimated. We gaining more and more confidence. More and more confidence. But you got to wait a while for the corner thing. That ain't happening in season. But I like the confidence is growing with the guys that we do have out there. I do like that. Video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Super chat video channel writes, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Trey Patch needs to answer for his crimes. Oh, you mean Trevor? Then you changed it to Trevor Patch. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Trevor Patch got to answer for his crimes. Well, he's a troll, and I shut down that trolling shit in the mob, if that's what you're referring to. I think he was trying to be serious, though, because he be at the games and his seats are kind of like close to the bench. So sometimes he'll be like kind of giving us the pulse of, what's going on out there. And but I wasn't trying to hear that shit he was talking about. So I had to shut that shit down. Like, bro, we're not doing that trolling shit. I will put a stop to it in this chat, because I needed to speak positivity into the situation, because I was already in my mind. I was like, yo, this shit is not happening, bro. This is not happening. Football guys, this is not what we discussed. This is not what we talked about. This is not happening. So I wasn't trying to hear that shit. I was on some la 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 la, like a little ass kid. La 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 la. Right? Mr. Pink, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. All right, Mr. Pink writes, We got to learn more from winning these days. Can't wait to see who was mic'd up this week. Mariota still got it. These are always fun, but these don't define who you are. These aren't the games where you measure who you are. These are the games that help you to learn the type of team you have in terms of taking care of business and overcoming adversity from the week prior, right? But these aren't the games that help define who you are. It's games like next week against Chicago, and then, you know, take care of the Giants. You're supposed to treat them like you just treated, you know, Cleveland and Carolina. You need to do the same thing. Arizona, you need to do the same thing to the Giants in a couple of weeks. But then the Steelers are going to be a tough game, right? Then the quick turnaround and the Eagles on a Thursday night, tough game. And so those are the ones that are going to help kind of shape and mold us and define who we are as a football team. But these are the ones that let you know, hey, we ain't your average run-of-the-mill middle-class team in the NFL. That ain't us. We better than that. You know, the Falcons and the Seahawks and, you know, the 49ers feel middle classes right now, like kind of trying to figure out who they are. Like, let them teams figure that shit out. Let's stay above those teams. You know, let's rise above that. So, yeah, we'll see. JLG, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. JLG writes, we barely mentioned John Allen today. That's because he didn't play. Why would we mention him? Right? You didn't mention his absence because we weren't going to face a team that was going to, you know, shed a light on that. It may be a bigger concern next week or the week after that or the week after that. But the worst thing that could happen here for John Allen is that we end up being solid without him, because it'll show them what life without him looks like. And if life without him is tolerable and, you know, hell, they even thrive in certain instances, why are we paying you $20 million for then, if that's the case? So it'll be interesting to see how things go, but so far so good. But I'd rather him be out there than not out there. I can tell you that much. Video channel, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? And one time for Emmanuel Forbes Jr. getting his pick. Got to, man. Got to give it up for Emmanuel Forbes. 13 out there getting it done. He jumped that thing too. The receiver helped by stopping his route, but that ain't our problem. Go get that thing. He ain't want it, so you go get it. I love it. What are you talking about, Mr. Fake? I know what you're talking about, but what are you talking about? Anyway, I digress. Let's get out of here. So Steelers beat up on the Jets 37-15, get to 5-2 on the season. And the Jets are 2-5, man. I did not see this coming. I just truly did not see the Jets being this bad. And with all the talent that I feel like they have, this is what happens when you think you could just put a collection of guys together and be okay. Like, continuity matters in this league, and they clearly don't have it in New York with this Jets team. They're not a well-coached team, and it's dysfunction. It's discombobulated. You can see it, and the results are there. And meanwhile, the Steelers doesn't always look pretty. It's not always aesthetically pleasing, but they know how to find a way to win. And don't look now. The Steelers are now 5-2 and lead the AFC North, obviously pending a Ravens victory on Monday Night Football against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But Steelers are 5-2. I think their pass game looks better with Russell Wilson under center. Hence, the offense looks better. But he's going to have to tighten up too. It wasn't the sharpest of nights for Russell Wilson, but it was his first day back, as the starter of the Steelers, first game. So cut him a little slack because some of those passes were not accurate. But guys made plays. And that's the thing I said, and I'm going to continue to say, is he'll give guys an opportunity, something that Fields really just didn't do, is give playmakers opportunities to make plays. So anyway, Abdallah, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Abdallah writes, these next 6 games will really test our resolve. We'll find out a lot about who we are. All right. I think we've started to see this team and what they are, but we'll find out a lot more. As the season progresses, we'll find out a lot about this team. But let me give a quick shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this stream. Once again, go to BetUS, use the promo code YouTube150 to get you 150% sign-up bonus, up to $2,000 on your first deposit, $125 on your next 2 deposits when you use the promo code YouTube150. That is going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. Greatly appreciate you guys for joining me here on Sunday Night Football Overtime. Steelers 5-2, Jets 2-5 after the Steelers beat up the Jets. 31 unanswered points by the Steelers in this game. They were trailing 15-6. Early stages of the third quarter, a pick by Beanie Bishop changed this entire game. Things were never the same. The Steelers go on to score 31 unanswered points and win this game 37-15. See you guys next time. Tomorrow we got a doubleheader. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have ESPN Plus, and I'm not getting it for Chargers and Cardinals. Kiss my ass. So it looks like I'll only be watching one of those 2 games tomorrow night. But I digress. I'll see you guys for Monday Night Football Overtime. Until then, you guys have a good one. God bless and good night.